Welcome, and here we are to a copy of the PDF that you might have downloaded. You'll see that says Department of Natural Resources. This is Division 60, Chapter 14, and you'll notice that the way that they break these down is they subnumber them, like here's 10, 20, and 30 to break it down into chapters. And as we roll on down into it, we'll see that they even break the subchapters down into like an outline, ones, twos, and threes, and A, B's, and C's. Let's just roll on down through here and hit a few highlights that we want to talk about. Highlight here, certified operator. That's what you'll become when you hold a valid water treatment or distribution certificate of any level issued by the department. And chief operator, we read about that a while ago. And that's your certified operator actually in charge with the overall responsibility of day-to-day process, control system integrity, decisions, supervisory operational activities that will directly impact the quality and the quantity of drinking water. Right now, you're assigned to an operator, maybe not the chief operator, but someone is designated as a chief operator. That's the one that makes the operating decisions. And here let's look at where it says operate, and there's a good reason for this definition. To make or act upon process control system integrity decisions regarding a water treatment facility or a distribution system. The chief operator is in charge. This is not the mayor, or no one can make operational decisions here but an operator. At some point in time, you may have to argue this fact with someone that's thinks they're in charge, who may be in charge of you, but they're not in charge of the water because they're not a certified operator. Okay, let's look here at these two definitions here. Treatment facility, and that's your water plant, and then distribution system. Treatment plant, any place where community water system or non-transient, non-community water system alerts to physical or chemical characteristics of the drinking water. Chlorination may be considered a function of a distribution system. I wish they would have put that separate instead of in that paragraph, because DNR does not figure chlorination as treatment because it doesn't really change the characteristics of the water. A distribution system is any combination of pipes, tanks, pumps, etc., which delivers water from the sources and or treatment facilities to the consumer. Now, as you saw in our above reading today, there's two different certifications. There's a treatment certification and a distribution certification. And as we run through here, and you saw a partial breakdown of that in the earliest in the above reading. And here you see this is the water treatment system classification. They're broke down into A, B, C's, and D's. Like you see here, this groundwater under the direct influence of surface water is a B. Now you'll hear this at various times in your career, and this is groundwater is like a well. Surface water, like here, is just that, it's surface water. It's a pond, lake, river, wherever your water comes out of. Groundwater is like a well. Now, what they say under the direct influence of surface water is if in some or in an alluvial plain that's gravelly and it's on the river bank and it's actually the river water. It's under the direct influence of surface water. And sometimes if your well casing is leaking or something, they'll put you under the direct influence of surface water, because what it means is other water is getting into that and influencing your water quality. Okay, to go on, gas chlorination takes a D level, D being your lowest level. Aeration, we see a lot of aerators in different parts of Missouri, especially for iron removal, a D level. So let's cruise on down here and look at the water distribution. And that is DS 1, 2, and 3. We saw this chart up in the reading. And there's, not only is it based on population, but it's also has a numerous amount of various things that can change the system. It's the characteristics of the distribution system which defines the classification. Uh, like this one here, let's look at the altitude valves in the system right now at this time. Altitude or pressure reducing valves make it a DS2. A little bit more complicated. Actually, the one's a simple system, a two is a more diverse system, and three is your higher class system with real high population. Um, and sometimes, well, like here, from a source water, surface water source is rechlorinated, so that's a three. So it all depends on the characteristics of your system. Like if you're like here, multiple sources, if they're different characteristics and are blended, that takes a DS3. As we roll on down, we need to know here that public water systems shall have a contingency plan for a standby replacement chief operator to be available at all times. DNR requires that you have a backup operator. That's all that means. Is to where if something happens to the chief operator, there's a backup operator that can take over. Another thing that you'll need to know, and this is probably going to be on your certification test, maybe, the owner shall notify the department in writing within 10 working days after the chief operator is replaced. In other words, DNR wants to know if your chief operator is gone. They want to know who's in charge. Let's see. All operating personnel making independent process control system integrity decisions about water quality or quantity that affect public health must be certified. So that's back to where your mayor can't make water quality or control system changes and decisions because he's not certified. Now, if he's certified, that's a different story. He needs to be chief operator if he's certified, if he's making decisions. And this just is another breakdown of that, where all decisions about water quality or quantity that affect public health must be made by a certified operator based on procedures approved by the chief operator. Just another thing to show that the chief operator is just that, he's chief. And if he's got the responsibility on his shoulders because his name is on the line. As we roll down through here, here's your levels of water treatment, A, B, C, D. And in this 2-year program, you can get the C or the D, and the DS2 is the same way. You can get the 1 or the 2. And there's some shows how much experience you have to have, and your 6 months can be offset also by your certification course that you'll be taking in class. So, and this is what that is Department approved water treatment training course for the water treatment and one for the distribution. So if you take when you take the operator certification course, it gives you this equivalency to where you can go ahead and get your certification quicker that way. Okay, let's roll on down through this. Don't think there's anything important that you must know on this. This will be gone over again in your certification class. Okay. Application for certification examination. When you go to cert class, you'll fill out your application there. The main thing is, remember, it says right here, must be received by the department at least 30 days prior to examination date. Don't fill around and not send it off. Fill that dude out and send it off immediately. If you got to have somebody sign it, get it signed, but put it in the mail yourself. Don't wait for the clerk or somebody to forget to put it in the mail. Because what you don't want to do is miss that test at the end of your certification if you can get out of it. The quicker you can take your test right after your certification class makes it a lot easier to pass that examination. Passing score 70% is required in order to become certified. That's something you will want to be aware of. Okay, now here we go. Your certificate, your operator certification certificate will be for a 3-year period. And in that 3 years, you will need these number of training hours to keep your renewal. So let's say you take a DS2 here on this line. In the next 3 years, you'll need 20 hours of renewal certification hours. So one good thing is with Missouri Water, we have the best training available, of course, and we have the best conferences available. Each conference will have about 10 hours training. So once you become certified, if you go to a conference, one conference a year, you'll have plenty. Even if you're DS3 or when you get to any of your treatment, they all require 30 hours of training. So just keep that in mind. And if you become dual certified, water, wastewater, both, those hours at the conference they cover both of those. So you can actually sit in classes in the conference and get training for both water and wastewater. The department will send you a renewal notice about 60 days before your certificate requires. However, they go by the information you have supplied. So what it amounts to is it goes to your last known address. And if you've moved in, like, well, here it says right here, any operator with a lab certificate will have, okay, that's another thing. Excuse me, we'll do that in a second. If you've moved and they don't know your forwarding address, they will not send it to you, and your certificate will lapse. So you've got a little bit of time afterwards to pay a fee and go ahead and renew it. But the thing is don't let that certificate lapse, or you'll end up taking the test over again. Here's where we were stumbling a while ago. It says any certificate not renewed within the 2 months allowing the expiration date will be considered lapsed. So you can fudge a couple months, but don't do it. It is not worth it. Any operator with a lapsed certificate will have to submit a new application and re-examine all over again. And after 2 years, you'll be needing to take the certification class all over again, because a lot that you have in it that's on the test is not every day applicable. So you refresher course would probably be desired at that time if you had to take it again. The thing is, don't do it, but keep your certificate up, keep all your information current with them if you move, and you'll be in good shape. Okay, that pretty well sums this up. The rest of it is about classes and how to submit a training class and all, something you don't have to worry about. So we'll catch you on the next video.